Grand Rising, welcome to Ascend from Within. So this video, I want to go over creating Oracle cards and the process that goes into it, at least for me. Um, it's trust in self, trust in what comes to you, believing in what you're doing, believing what's coming to you is real, and just having faith. That's the main thing. Oracle cards can be created any way. You don't have to be a genius. You don't have to be an artist. You just need to be creative. And you can create a card anyway. You can create a card using cardboard and cutouts placed on cardboard and taking a picture of it. Taking a picture going to the ocean. Just taking pictures that way, using that as a background. Objects in front of you, taking pictures of them, using the mission card background. It could be anything. For me, it is a different process. I envision a lot of the things that I create before they're created. I'll have an idea. So what I'll do most of the time as I'm doing these, I notice I'm going to AI. I'm going to AI generators. And I mean, you can do that by just doing a search on AI to pull up any of these to use. And what I'll do is I'll type in a sequence of words or a description of what I'm looking to do. And I will grab the images from there. And this may be, I may do this for like 300-400 images even. And then when I'm done with that, I'll do this once again by, like, it's not just using the same description for every image. I'll change the wording on it for a different feeling or idea that I have. And that's the way I'll do it when I have light codes or I have sayings that come. I'll put that in to try and generate the image. And I've used that a couple of times for a few of the decks because I felt that's how it's supposed to be. Most of the time, I'm going to be meshing and morphing images together to create something else. In the past, I've done it, the very first deck I did, I created out of light codes. And with the light codes, I got messages and meditation. And in the meditation, as I was doing these cards, I felt the colors purple and gold were meant to be in those cards for transmutation and God's golden light. And for the cover, I actually put the person that passed that I was with for many years. And it's a healing deck, and I feel I was assisted in doing that through her. And the deck actually changed because at first I was using images, but I felt to use that standard color in the background with just the image itself. And with that first deck, I also used those images in 8x10 form for tuning fork healing because it's sound vibration resonation with this deck, with the very first one. So that's one way I've done it. And on the I Am Affirmations deck, I've also done it a little differently where I've used photographs. I used photographs I've had of the beach, where I've taken at the beach, sunset, sunrise, and morphing some of them together, and then creating sayings. And for other decks, it was just the meshing and morphing portion. And that's what I'm going to show you in a few minutes. The process I use. For what I'll do first is, once I have everything that I kind of know what the deck is going to be, first thing I'll try and do is I'll try and get a background, what I feel the background is going to be. And I'll do that in AI also. And the image you're going to see, I created in AI, and also the image I'm using with that image was also done through AI. And then I use Photoshop to mesh them together to create the image. So basically, here we go. I'm going to actually play that video for you now. Okay, so this process is going to be after you've already selected images that you created and you want to mesh them together to try and make an image that you're envisioning to use for your deck. Okay, so for me, for this particular deck now, I'm working on I've just had all synchronicities to work on with unicorns. So this is what I got. So I'm going to open up the first image. Okay, I use Photoshop. Okay, you can see the image on the screen right here. And this I created in AI also. And I just felt like this would be the perfect kind of scene for a unicorn or a unicorn land. It looks mystical. It looks creative. It looks childlike. It's everything that embraces the unicorn, uniqueness. So from here, I will open the other image that I have on my desktop. So this is one of the images that I created in AI, but it's not complete to me. I feel it to be more to be done with magic, more meshing, more uniqueness, which is perfect for unicorns. So basically within Photoshop, with the selection tool, I'm going to take the whole image, I'm going to copy it. Then I'm going to open the original image, which I'm now going to size. I'm going to make it an 8 by 10 image. So after doing this, I may have to open it up again, which I will, unless I zoom it out, which I'll do instead. So now this is the image. Now the image that I selected, I'm going to paste. And for this one, I feel to expand it out over the image. Once you have this portion, click on it, and it's going to apply. Now you have your layers over here. So I'm currently working in this layer. So I want to try and mesh these two together. So to do that, you go to blending options. There are all different features you could try within here. I'm just going to leave it at the default because that's what I feel is meant to be used. In the capacity, you're going to drag it down lower, and you're going to see the image start to morph. It's going to start to combine both the images. So you're going to stop it wherever you feel, where it feels right. Like right about here feels right to me. Now this feels like something that I'm going to use. It's magical. It's mystical. It's got transmutive energy in it. It's got layers. It has what would be, feels like to me, different dimensions, different realities. So this one I'm going to save. I'm just going to call it, this is 63, so I'm just going to call it Uni63 and save it to the desktop as a JPEG. And I'm going to close this out. I'm just going to open up that image so you can see what it's going to look like on here. Okay, now I'm going to open up the original. I'm going to go back and forth. So as you can see the difference? Where this seems kind of bland and just basic AI, now this is magical. And this is how I go about part of the process. It's what I feel, it's what I intuitively feel. And you have to trust in everything that you're doing. So this is the basic steps that I would use to create one of the cards. Now, for this particular one, I've been working on it for a while, and I have a bunch of different images selected, and I'll be working on those. But this is just one step. This is the step once you have the image. Now, this can be done many different ways. You could do this by a hand drawing and scanning it or taking a picture of it, using regular pictures of anything you could take. This could be your background. It depends on whatever you feel and whatever you're making and what resonates with you and what feels right to you. So this is kind of my process. Some things I've had that I've drawn a long time ago, and I will edit and mesh them in with different images. It could be photographs that I've taken. I did that in my very first deck. And also this very last deck, which is the I Am Affirmations. That's all done with images of the beach that I've taken throughout the years. And this process here for this is somewhat what the inside of the deck will look like when this is complete. This is just one image, but the color configuration and the kind of magical morphing of the image is what I'm aiming for and what I feel. This could all change for me once I have the images, because I may get something, I may get a saying that comes that doesn't fit. I may get something in meditation that tells me switch it out, go somewhere else, because I've done that already. But just trust in what you feel. And this is basically the process for this in creating an image. Now you could do this also with anything else. You can put more images in here and try and morph it together and save it. But from here, this is like one step. This is creating the image for a card. And later what I'll be doing is I'll be adding text if I feel that to be, or I will add light codes if I feel that to be, whatever comes intuitively to me. But this is the step actually that how I go about opening and creating an image. Thank you. Okay, now the next portion is for the image that we created in Photoshop of the morphed image. Now I want to put text to it. So I'm going to use Word. I'm going to open up the Word file I have here. And for this one, it's going to be number 4. Receive abundance, messages, and plenty are yours. So I'm going to open up the image that I created. It's going to open up in Photoshop. Okay, so now your image is open. When I add text or I add anything to an image, I try to envision a border, more or less, within here. So basically a border that on the outside I'm not going to put anything, because when you go to add this to create a card, some of the edges may be cut off a little bit, or the text may be too wide to fit properly for the card. So to help with this, I actually reduce it in a bit. All right, so in Photoshop with the image open, I already hit the text layer. So I'm going to add text. I'm going to click in the image. It's going to let me go back to Word, which I have open. And I'm going to copy the word that I want. Or you could just type it in. Okay, now here, I feel I want this to be down in this portion of my image. I want the word to be here. Then I'm just going to hit enter. Now I have the size set to 36 point on this. So for the rest of the text, I'm going to want it to be a little bit smaller. So I'm going to go back to Word. I'm going to copy. And I'm going to click in the image again. I'm going to right click and paste. As you can see, it's going out too far. So what I do in this case is I'll go to more or less where the word is, and I'll enter it. Till I get it where it fits correctly into the image, more or less. So as you can see, I'm going to want to leave that bit down there open, but this defaulted back to 36 because I didn't select it right away in here. So I'm going to break this down to 30. Text is going to come smaller. I'm going to enter it. In fact, I want this to be a little bit bigger. So I'm going to make this 48 point, or actually 40. I feel it should be 40. So, here I can pull the image. the text rather, within the image where I feel it's going to be good. Now, I'm doing this way because I have light codes that I've been getting in meditation. And I've been working on them also. And I'm not sure yet if they're meant to be with this deck or not. I'm going to sit on that and I'm going to see. But this is an example of adding text another step further to an image created in Photoshop. So I'm just going to file, save this. I'm going to save it as a PostScript file, PSD. This way I can open it and always go back if I want to move, change, edit the text in this image. But right now also I'm going to save it as the actual image, because I can go back and I can delete that if I want to make the original image again that I morphed into. So now I'm going to overwrite that image that I opened up from initially, the one that I created. Okay, now I'm going to just close out of Photoshop. I'm just going to open that image. I'm going to close out of Word also. So here's the actual image, and here is the PostScript file. I'm going to actually wind up putting these into a folder. In fact, I'm going to do that now. I'm going to create a new folder on the desktop. I'm going to call it, let's say, Work. So in the meantime, I'm going to take these images that I'm using. I'm going to cut, paste them into Work. Okay, now I'm going to open this image to just show you. Okay, this is the image now with the text. I'm going to close this. And I'm going to open the other image with the PostScript. As I was saying before, now I can remove this text from this by just going here, hitting delete, and that's it. And the text is gone. And the image is as it was after I morphed it. So if you feel it wasn't right, you can always save it again here as the JPEG. I'm just going to exit out of here, not do anything, because I want to keep it as it was for the moment. And basically, this is your steps for adding text to the file. Okay, so the first two steps we've done is we've actually got the image that we're going to use on the insert of the card. We've created that in Photoshop through having multiple images meshed together and morphed together. In step two, we've created the text for that particular card. Now I'm going to take it another step further. So I do have some light codes. I'm not going to save it onto here for this particular one because I'm not sure it's supposed to go there. But I actually created it already through here. So I'm going to take you through the process. With that, what I'll do is in meditation, I will generally have a notebook with me in that. And often I will get light codes. So I will draw out these light codes in the notebook. Then from there, I'll use my phone and I will snap a picture of the light code and upload it to my computer. So I'm going to take you to the step that happens right after that. So what I'll do is here's like the actual image. I'm going to open it up in Photoshop. Okay. Now this is one that where I've put the image in there already. And let's say this was black from drawing it on a piece of paper with lines. So I will highlight this area and fill it in the black with gold. And the background area, I will clean up all the lines that are in there by just, adding white into it. And then I build this up by just clicking on it till it builds up to the point where I want it to be. Then I have my image. Okay. So now I'm going to go through the process of creating a transparency for this so it can go on the card. And that's the other image that I will show you on here when it's complete. To do this, you just highlight either the whole thing or just around the image, whatever you want. So I'm going to edit, I'm going to copy, then I'm going to go to File, New. Okay. Normally I would have this as just a white background, but I want it transparent because I want to be able to have this image where it's open all behind it. Okay, so now it's overlaid with the new image. So now I'm going to paste this. Now I'm going to create this back to the lasso tool. To do this, All you have to do is just drag the mouse with the left mouse button down around an area, like so. I'm just going to select this area here like this. Once you have that, hit delete. You're now in the process of creating your transparency. So you're going to do this all around these images. Okay, and here too, you can zoom in to make it easier. So I'm going to do like this section here. That's holding the left mouse button down and dragging. If you're not familiar with Photoshop or using a mouse, this is going to be very difficult at first. And then delete. And you can zoom in if you want it absolutely perfect all around the edges. From here, I will go to File, Save As, and I will make it a GIF file, and I will give it a name. Okay, from here I would hit Save. I'm not going to, but I am going to open up the actual file with this one that I created. So this is what it would look like after you pull all the white out of it and you save it as a GIF. Okay, so now this is already saved. I have it in my work folder. Now I'm going to open up my image, the image I created with the text. Okay, actually what I'm going to do, I'm going to go one step in a different direction because I have it already. I'm going to open the PostScript file because it already has everything in there that can be taken out and put back in. So now this is all set up. So I'm going to go to File, and I'm going to Open. Now I'm going to browse to the GIF file that's already made transparent. With the lasso tool, which is already selected, I'm going to hold the left mouse button down, and I'm just going to grab this image. Once I meet it up on top, line to line, I'm going to release the left mouse button. I'm going to go to Edit, Copy. And I'm going to select back to my image. I'm going to hit Edit and Paste. Okay, now I have the ability to move this around, do whatever I want to it, make it smaller, place it wherever I want to place it. So I'm going to right click, I'm going to free transform this, and I'm going to resize it. And I would say like put it here, more or less, because remember now, you want to create the boundary that you're going to leave open on the outside of the image when you go to load it up as a card. So I'm going to apply. And this is how you can create transparency within your image also. So this is how I add my light codes into the card. So I would hit File, Save, and that would save it, as a JPEG file, but I'm not going to do anything with this. I'm actually going to just save it as a PostScript file right now. This way, if we want to go back into it, I could show you, like even right now, I could do it. It's saved. It's highlighted already. I'm just going to hit delete. It's going to be gone. If I decided not to use it, and then I would save the file that way. But it's pretty much that simple. That's creating the transparent GIF to go into the actual file. And that's how I add my light codes. Okay, so these are the first 3 steps in creating an image for a card, for the card deck. Basically what I've done is I've showed you how to get your image. That could be either by a photograph or by drawing and taking a picture of it, by using AI, which is generally what I do. You would have to go to a search engine for AI. You'll have to find that on your own, whatever you feel comfortable with. There's a few out there. And I save the images that way. I create all different images. I put all different text in to create them. Often, like I said, I will get maybe 100 images, if not more. And from there, I tone it down to what I feel it's going to be. If it feels right for me, I create a different background or a standard background. And that was also displayed in this, what I felt to be for this particular thing that I'm working on right now. And in that process, you saw how to meld and merge images together to create an image. And then the following step was to add text to your image. And this last step I showed you was to add a transparent GIF so that if there's an image that you want transparent to still see the image behind it, you can create that, and that's how I got my light codes. Now, the following steps I'm going to do, I'm going to show you how to size out your images for, let's say, a tarot card size deck, which would be 2.75 by 4.75. And I'm going to show you how to do that in Photoshop and to save it and then to go from there. Okay, so we've gone through the first 3 steps. And now the following step that we're going to do is we're going to actually size our image. Okay. In the previous video, I believe I said 2.75 by 4.75, which is correct for a tarot size card. But I'm going to be making a slight adjustment to this, because if I would have uploaded to the website that I use, which is boardgamesmaker.com, they're in China, and that's where I have my cards printed, I would make them 2.75 by 4.75. For what I'm going to do in this step, I'm going to be showing you the process to laminate. So I'm going to make it 2.75 by 4.60 because the lamination will be a little bit more on the outside. So I'm going to open the work folder, and I'm going to open our image. Okay, and I'm going to select image and then size. My resolution is 999. I keep it there. That's the highest I can go when I do upload to the site for uploading the card, so I have the best resolution. So I just leave it like that. But I'm going to change the width to 2.75, and I'm going to make it 4.60. Okay, and I'm going to save this as 275, 460, so I know the image. Okay. So now I'm just going to close this image and show you again what it looks like after it's resized. I'm really not going to notice the difference, I don't think. Let me just rename it because I did not put a period. So here's the actual image. This is what more or less your, the width and the height and everything is going to look like for this card. So I'm going to close this. So when I do have all the cards, how many there are, it doesn't matter. I will then open Word. Okay, I'm going to maximize this. And generally, to print as many as I can on a page, I'll just pull the borders in and out more. So that I can fit as many on one piece of paper that I can. All right, so from here, I'm just going to go back to this particular image that I just did. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to go back to the Word that I have right here. I'm just going to space a little bit and enter down. I'm going to paste. Okay, so now if I had multiple cards, I would go back. So I'm going to go back again. Let's say I would right-click, copy, and I would go back here, and I would space over. And I would paste again. Let's say this is a different card. I know it's the same card, but I'm showing you for purposes of saving and then printing. So now I'm going to hit enter, and basically I'll space over again to where I left off, and I would paste the next image. Okay, that was correct. And then space out again. And let's say I had a 4th image, I would do that also. I'm spacing out. So right here, I have my 4 images on a Word document. Okay. Now I can continue down and get page 2, page 3, page 4 by getting 4 images on a page. So let's say I had 48 images, I would have 12 pages in the Word document. So I would then save this document as whatever I want. I'm just going to call it document, save it. Okay. And then I would just, you need a pretty good printer with pretty good resolution. So that's up to you. And you would just print them out. Okay. And basically that's that. And you would do the same thing for the cover. Let's say you had the cover. you would just copy and paste that like I just did with this 4 times, and then as many as you would need to make the back of the card for the deck. And it's pretty much that simple. Okay, the next step I'm going to show you is after you put these in Word like I just did, and you print them and you cut them. Okay, so now we've seen how to size the cards and to put them into a document for printing. So at this point, you would have printed your document, and pretty much what you're going to use, I use a slide ruler cutter, and I'll put the piece of paper that prints out in there, and I will print them out so that it looks somewhat like this. Okay, they all come out like this and like this. Okay, so basically what I'm doing, I'm just going to pull one piece of paper from each. So what I do from here is I put them together, and I put a little piece of tape in between to hold them, and then I make sure that everything is correct on the edges. There's as little white showing as possible. I'll trim those out. Okay, once it is trimmed out, I will use an edger, and depending on the size of the card with these, I might use the 7, I might use the 10, but basically I will cut all the corners to round them off with this. Okay, and it will create the actual card. So then what I do is I have a laminator, okay, and I use 5mm lamination paper. This way it's the thickest, it's the best for it. And I will then take these cards that I put together and cut the rounded edges on, and generally I'll get 4 in each lamination sheet, and then I'll run it through the laminator, and I'll use the same tool I just used, the paper edger, and I'll cut the laminated sheets into cards the same way that these were, and I'll use the same edger to cut the edges off. So basically when they're done, they will look like this. Okay, here's the front and the back, and the front and the back. And it is basically that simple. You don't need, to actually go out and have a bunch of cards printed if you don't want to. If you want to create something just for yourself, this is the best option. It does take a lot of time, I will tell you this. For like this particular set here, okay, this set has 50 cards in it. For me to make one laminated set, it takes me basically all day, because I'm printing, I'm cutting, and then from there I'm putting them together, and then refining the edges and the sides on them, and then edging them, then running them through a laminator, cutting them, and doing the same process over. So it takes a while to do even one deck if there's a lot of cards. And for these guys here, the tins, basically you can go on Amazon and you can order the tins to put the cards in, and then you can just measure the size of the box with an image that you create, let's say, and you do the same process. You cut it and you use the round edge. That's how I did these for the label that goes on. So it is really that simple. That is the portion for creating a deck of cards from start to finish, more or less. And as you can see, if you take your time, it's really not that hard, but you got to know what you're doing. You need to have a plan. You need to have a foundation. And there are so many people that are so afraid they don't know where to begin. And this is why I wanted to create this, because when I first started doing this, I was asking questions of people that make cards, and they were very reluctant to give me information. And I found that very strange, because that's people in the spiritual community. We're supposed to be here to help one another and to want each other to grow and to have everybody's input out there and everybody's teachings out there. It's not a me situation here. It's a we situation. And a lot of people need to realize that and see that. And that's why I'm doing this too, because I want the people that are afraid to express themselves, afraid to show their creativity, to be out there because they need to be out there and they have a lot to offer. I see so many people, so many gifted people. They have so much to put out there and they just don't know where to begin. So I'm hoping that this helps you in that process. And if you have any questions, I mean, you can contact me either through Facebook or through my website, which I'm going to show at the end of this. I'm actually going to put an image up there showing my website, my Facebook, where to reach me in that. Okay? Have a great day. Namaste. Love you all.